Hello and welcome to One Cool Thing, PC Mag's daily show where we show you one cool thing which we are testing out here in the PC Mag Labs. I'm Sasha Segan, this is Matt Buzzy. Today we have a very cool laptop for you. It is, as Matt has said, big but nicely built. And we'll get into that in a few minutes, but first the intro. And the intro is that if you are watching us live on Facebook, then Social Pete is here to take your comments and questions. We welcome your comments and questions who would like to participate in the discussion. If you are watching us later on YouTube, please like and subscribe. We have a new One Cool Thing for you every weekday here on PC Mag's YouTube channel. Also consider coming over to Facebook to participate in the live discussion about this product. And the product today is the Alienware R517?
17R5.
17R5.
17 denotes the size. R5, it's the fifth rev, the fifth rendition of the 17. If you
Great.
will. Yes.
And so what we have here is a $4,000 gaming laptop, but that's not what it has to be.
Yours does not have to be $4,000. Yeah, this is
for you.
Just for you.
2,000.
The price is.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is just under 4,000 as configured, which we'll get to what that entails. But this is configurable up from about $1,500, so you can go scale up from there. The components are fit to your needs, but we have the super high-end one.
Yeah. This is very fit to some very high-end needs.
It is. My needs are so high-end.
Okay, so your needs are complex. Let's walk through what is satisfying your complex needs in this laptop.
Yes, please. So physically, it looks pretty much identical to the R4. It is. They did not really go with the design change. You got the nice side lighting, which I like. It's like looks a little futuristic, looks a little high tech without being over the top.
Yeah.
That includes some touchpad glow, which you really don't see in any other laptops, to my recollection.
I know. I keep feeling it's going to turn into a Kindle. I keep feeling
Put
it's
your
like
ebook on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a cool little touch. This also has a Tobii eye tracking camera, which I'll get to.
Let's get to that in a minute, but let's keep going through the basic features here.
The keyboard is huge and nice, feels nice to type on. There's an extra column of macro keys for you here, a full-size numpad. You can really go to town.
Yeah, we were looking at a really nice external keyboard yesterday, the Logitech G513, and it cracked me up a little that this laptop has more keys than that dedicated external keyboard.
Yeah. This is almost 9 pounds, so it's a hefty one.
Oh, yeah.
It's a big boy. The thermals and ports are around back. Most of them. There's some on the sides too. But there's a lot of stuff back here.
We got a lot of ports.
Yeah.
Ethernet, DisplayPort, HDMI, USB-C.
Thunderbolt 3, USB-C.
No dedicated eGPU.
Yes, Alienware's proprietary external graphics box has its own little proprietary plug.
Okay.
So that is what that is.
How big is the power brick?
It's
a beast.
It's sizable. It's this big and like this tall.
It's like as big as like a 12-inch MacBook.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, this is sort of a desktop replacement gaming laptop. This is not your throw it in your bag, bring it with you. You can obviously, that's the appeal of laptop if you need to move something, even if it's from room to room, even if it's from you're going away and you're going to stay somewhere a couple days.
Kind of laptop.
Yeah, this is like you can move it if you want to, but it is generally a desktop class laptop.
Okay, so what do we have in here at the $4,000 level, and then we'll talk about how you can option that down to a really nice $2,000 laptop.
Yes. So there's a GTX 1080 in here, overclocked. So that off the bat, that's not in many laptops. There's 32 gigabytes of RAM. There's a Core i9 processor, an 8th generation. That's a new Coffee Lake processor. So that's kind of insane to begin with. The Core i9, most people don't really need that, but
it actually cracks me up that there's an eGPU port on something with an overclocked 1080 in it.
Right. What else are you going to put in there? Like there's pretty much 2 cards better than that. So yeah, it's kind of silly. Of course, if you're spending out for this much, you're probably not also going to use the eGPU box. Probably.
Right.
But they got to keep it on there because the same chassis could be used for the low SKU with the 1060, which again. Are you really going to eGPU that? I don't know. Some people get pretty hardcore at it.
But like something that you should point out is that with laptops like this, with laptops in general, you can't really upgrade the hardware once you bought it.
Right.
So the eGPU allows you that, once NVIDIA comes out with the, 1120 or whatever, then you can attach your 1050 bearing laptop to that.
In 2 years, if you want to put the newest, latest graphics card in there, go ahead. The processor and the RAM will remain very fast. I think even if the GPU game accelerates, I think this processor and that much memory will serve you fine
Storage?
for a long time. A lot of storage, also adding to the price. There's a 512 gigabyte SSD and a 1 terabyte hard drive in here.
Okay.
More storage you can stick at.
And hey, and screen.
The screen is 1440p. It's G-Sync. It's high refresh, so
it's not a touchscreen.
It's not a touchscreen. So that alone is adding even
don't
more
use
to the price.
touchscreens.
Gamers don't really use a touchscreen.
Wow.
That's adding a lot to the price. These are all configurable. You can get a 1080p screen, 144 hertz if you want. You don't have to get a 1080. You can get a 1060, maybe even it's in my review, a 1050 Ti. I'm not sure if that's an option, but a 1060 for sure, a 1070. You can get a much smaller SSD because that really adds to the price. The terabyte hard drive you can get across a large range. You can pair it with a small SSD and still get the terabyte hard drive. So you can configure this down, like I said, to like 1560 is the cheapest it gets. So,
but you said you thought of a really nice configuration at like 1970.
There's one in particular that stood out because one of my friends asked me, recently for a laptop recommendation. I happened to be reviewing this at the time. And normally, Alienware priced at a bit of a premium. Definitely has a reputation for being expensive, and this one is because it's spec'd out. But that one's actually not only like a decent value. It's actually one of the, if not the best value I've recalled in recent memory for a 17-inch laptop. There's an $1899 SKU with a 1070, 16 gigs of RAM, Core i7. It's still the same like great chassis. The screen is still good. It's 1080p, but that's fine. And it still has the terabyte of storage and I think a 256 SSD. So that's actually, it all adds up to a good value. I was not surprised that it's Alienware, but kind of surprised that it was coming from Alienware.
Now, before we get to questions, one thing that you do have to be warned about, other than the fact that this is 9 pounds and could easily kill a man, is that this is the kind of gaming laptop where battery is not something you expect to have. It doesn't really have battery life as we define it in the normal
in human
world.
terms.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just under 4 hours, 3 hours, 45 minutes, something like that. Not the worst. It's actually on the higher end for some of these fancy 17-inch laptops, but that's not a high end.
Yeah.
In a standard, in an objective sense, that's not a high end.
Yeah, in this case, you're running a 17-inch screen and overclocked GTX 1080, so you're going to be pulling some kilowatts.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just there's no way to make it last all that much longer. That's a decent amount of time if you are off the charger for a bit, you're watching something, whatever. If you start playing games though, that's battery's just gonna disintegrate.
Let's take a question.
Does Alienware make an ultra portable?
They do not. There was, I don't know if they still offer the 13-inch version of this. They offer there is a 15-inch version. I don't think there's the current rev of this the 13-inch yet, but it'll come. There's a 15-inch version, and there was a 13-inch. It's still kind of, it's not slim. It's still about as thick as this. So I wouldn't call it an ultra portable probably, but size-wise, I mean 13 inches is 13 inches, so it's much smaller.
But I feel like if you're looking for an ultra portable with this kind of philosophy, it's Razer Blade Stealth.
Yeah, or the Razer Blade.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because which I'm reviewing the new one of right now. That has those also do get expensive. Like that's more expensive than this because they have to miniaturize it and make it.
Right.
And that's with the 1070, and it's still $2,400. So that's what you get when you get the small size. You pay more.
But you can actually carry it around without incurring serious injury.
It's super nice. It weighs 4.5 pounds, not 9.
Okay, so let's loop around to the Tobii eye tracking camera. What the heck is that, and what is it supposed to do?
It's not my favorite feature. You don't have to get it in. You can get it with or without either. Like the different screen resolutions come with and without it. So you can get the lower end with or without it. So if you really want to save money, just keep getting rid of the Tobii. It's a neat feature. So it's in here. It uses, the fancy one uses IR, and it tracks your eyes. It checks if you're looking at the screen. It'll keep the display on that part's okay. It has some uses for gaming that are like kind of novelty, I feel like, more than they are functional.
So like targeting?
Yeah, it can some games that are compatible like pan the camera if they sense you looking, and I've tried it. It works. I don't know if it's super useful. You can like highlight items in certain games by looking at them. You can turn your head, so it's like VR light. It's like VR without VR, which is kind of neat. Not a super essential feature. If you're looking to cut some of the pricing off of this, I would probably go with that.
And now, speaking of VR, no problem running any VR or mixed reality.
No, not with this. Not with one of the lower SKU versions. You can go all the way down to a 1060 and still be pretty good for running the VR. So
let's take another question.
Are 8K screens a thing yet?
Not on laptops.
Yeah.
That would be
very large
nuts.
TVs.
Yeah, large TVs, like specific monitors that exist out there. not on laptops. I mean, a 4K one most of the time on a laptop is overkill to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, you really have to start talking about not sheer number of pixels, but you have to talk about pixel density. And you have to talk about pixels per inch. And I see this a lot in the mobile phone world, where
those are small screens.
Yeah, those are small screens, and we've really come to a conclusion that anything over about the 400 to 450 ppi area is just overkill that nukes your battery and doesn't really bring you any real consumer impact. And we've seen that with Sony trying to put true 4K screens on small phones. I think those are 563 ppi. Nobody can really tell the difference between those and the 2K screens at the same size because eyes are only that sharp and they're expensive and nuke the battery.
Right. Your eyes can't see more than 60 frames per second. It's not true. That's what people say. we have a question.
Did you talk about the chassis earlier? It's plastic?
It's plastic, but it feels nice. I don't know if you would agree with Sasha. The lid's aluminum. It has this soft touch.
I like the matte.
Yeah, it's not plastic that feels like oh, this plasticky cheap laptop. It's really solidly built.
I think the only problem here with this chassis, and I like, now are these heat vents or are these speakers?
These are speakers.
Okay, see, that's cool.
Yeah,
front-facing speakers, bring in the music,
heat's
bring
out the
sound
back
at you.
And the sides and the bottom.
Yeah. The only problem I found with this is that it has a serious greasy hands problem on the matte surface next to the touchpad, where if you are gaming and, for instance, eating Doritos, this is going to be a total disaster, and you probably want to cover this with like maybe saran wrap or something.
Sure.
Yeah.
Or just, people, well, their side, I guess. But people using their mouse, so you don't get, that's not, but yeah, this is going to get all.
Yeah. So it's pretty, but I'm a little concerned about the grease attraction factor in this.
Yeah, it's weirdly, like it does it, but then it kind of fades away.
It wipes clean pretty easily.
So there's that.
Yeah. Let's go over to some benchmarks. These kinds of specs demand that we look at the benchmarks. Of course. So let's look at the benchmarks. So, come on. There we go.
Boom.
Okay, so we've got our... Hello. So we've got our Core i9 going on here.
Yes, so as you can see, it kind of cleans the floor with the others.
Yeah.
Even at its native resolution 1440p, which is higher than some of those, its PC Mark score is very good. Where it really shines is the multimedia test, because the Core i9 has all those threads. It's got a lot going on. It actually, weirdly, the Photoshop test, it didn't translate quite as well. It's still good, but the Cinebench score really demonstrates how much better it is than
that's some amazing power. And why does this laptop even have a battery in it?
Yeah, that laptop has two 1070s in it, so it doesn't stand a chance. The Aorus X9, it was never going to last anything at all. Yeah, so not only is it a Core i9, it's also an 8th gen, and those are 7th, so it's doubling up.
Terrific. And then if we go over to the graphics test, because this is a gaming machine.
Indeed.
We see that, once again, we are mopping the floor with anything that doesn't have a crazy SLI situation.
And even then, it's not that far off the SLI, because it's 1070, so it's just better. Yeah, you can see the overclocked 1080 is really doing some work in there. Beating out the competition.
I mean, the fact that you are well over 60 frames per second at ultra quality 1440p.
Yeah, in QHD, that's pretty good.
Man.
So if you are really pushing frames, or you want more frames as opposed to higher resolution, turn it down to 1080. Those will skyrocket over 100 frames per second, and you won't remotely have a problem.
Yeah.
Of course, this is the super high-end version. Not all of them will do that. You can see though roughly what you'd get. Be similar to the HP Omen's numbers. You still get well over 60 at 1080p.
Yeah, 90 at 1080p is
the
nothing.
1070 is a great card if you want to scale down to that version. It's still very capable. I just wouldn't do it at QHD probably.
Okay. Any more questions out there?
We've gotten this before. What games did you test on this besides benchmarks?
Sorry. Allergies. The Witcher 3 usually is something I install and run. It scales pretty well across computers. It's optimized decently. It looks super pretty, so you can really tell. It'll push the frames. There's a lot of options to turn on and off to try to test. Doom, which is actually a really well optimized game that I stopped using quite as much because it actually runs really well on a lot of machines, and it doesn't actually help that much.
Apple Watch.
Yeah. Some others, depending. I mean, I can only, it takes a lot of time to download and install these games.
I was going to say, how many hours of your week do you think are spent installing The Witcher 3?
A lot. Keep it running on the side. Got to get that wired connection going. That's like a 60 gigabyte game at this point. It takes a minute. Yeah. So, a couple games. The benchmarks do tell a lot of the story, but sometimes real-world use is a little bit better.
Okay, so
if it's something specialized like this, I try to do a game or two just to make sure.
Let me scroll down, and we'll talk about what our editor's choice is right now in this gaming laptop category.
And, oh wait, it's this.
Hey!
Look at that. This, if I was just reviewing this $3,900 SKU, I'd probably be like, not really an editor's choice. You get the, it looks nice, it's built nice. This is all customizable, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that. You just don't have to be light blue. These can be any color you want. Same for the alien head on the lid. The little power button has a little glow to it, and the touchpad and keyboard glow.
I really like the blue more than Razor Green, I guess.
Yeah, I really like the blue and black color scheme. Acer's also going that route with their Predator stuff. They stopped using red, and it's light blue and black also.
Less threatening.
So yeah, this is our editor's choice. If it was just the expensive version, I'd say really no one's going to buy that. That's very few people shelling out nearly $4,000 for a gaming laptop. Probably wouldn't earn the editor's choice in that regard. But like most of these gaming laptops, they are scalable, they're configurable, and sometimes that doesn't also lead to a great score. That doesn't mean just because it's configurable, there's going to be one that like really kills it.
But in this case,
there's a SKU. There's a couple SKUs, but the one that really caught my eye was that $1,899 one. A 1070, 16 gigs of RAM, Core i7. You still get a terabyte of storage and an SSD, and it's the same. It's this exact thing. So you're not making any concessions on the build. You're not getting a different case or anything like that. You are just getting a really nice performing machine. There are different 15-inch laptops that you could look at. If you're going to go down to $1,899, I think I'd probably have a couple different recommendations. But some people either know they're not going to move their system, or they really like a 17-inch screen as opposed to a 15-inch screen. So in that case, I would say this is the way to go.
So if you want to go big, if you want to go bold, if you want a 17-inch screen on your gaming laptop, this Alienware R5 is the way to go right now. And you can scale it up and down the product line. You can get it for $2,000. You can get it for $4,000. You can add things, remove things, swap things out, make the laptop that you were really looking for. Dude, you're getting an Alienware. Thank you all for watching. This has been One Cool Thing with PCMag.com. If you are watching us on Facebook, please return at 10 a.m. Eastern. Tomorrow, we will have another cool thing. We will have another guest. We will have more discussion. If you are watching us on YouTube, then please like and subscribe. We have a new One Cool Thing every day for you.